Yeah.
I have a sore throat, so.
Okay, legislative committee meeting, April 28th, excuse me, 2022 in attendance, our councilpersons McNamara, Shrestha, Council President Wolf, Councilperson Bruger, Councilperson Koss, and Councilperson Camera. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry guys that 6:30 is normally what I do, so we can just go over legislation quick. I know Eric had said he had some stuff to give to present to us, is why he asked if I could move it to 6. I don't see him, so he perhaps forgot. So let's go through what we're doing tonight. Ordinance 07, 2022. This is the third reading of the bond issue. I know there has been a lot of information passed out to us and the public about this. The intent is to pass as an emergency to secure that 3.77% interest rate. Anyone have anything they want to say about it now before then, or?
Do we want to plan out what we've planned? So during the discussion portion of this, do we want to plan out that we intend to read out the FAQs, or?
Yeah, we should definitely do
Do
that.
we want to, what do we want to do in that plan? We should have a plan and stick to the plan as best as is practicable.
Okay, so I don't have the FAQs in front of me, but that would not be a bad
I
idea.
can pull those up.
I'm
right now.
sure
Well, they're
someone,
on the Minerva Park.
yeah.
I have the website in front of me, so I just have to.
I got him.
Questions and answers. Answers and questions. Okay, yeah, I mean, is anybody else volunteering to read them, or shall I just read them?
I mean, I can if you don't want to. The only thing that I will say is, like, I think, you know, the $15 million is incredibly incorrect, so we should bring
Yeah, we
attention
can
to that.
Correct that here,
Yeah,
that's fine.
yep.
And I am usually pretty good on parliamentary stuff, but I have a question on this. If it does not pass as an emergency, I believe we can reintroduce it as a non-emergency, is that correct? Does anyone know on that, or none of our legal people are here?
Yep, no, you can absolutely do that. So if we don't have 4 votes for an emergency, it can be
Introduced as just a regular
yeah, I think the
passage.
technical term is make a motion for reconsideration and then amend it as.
Okay, so I do know my Roberts on that. In order to make a motion for reconsideration, I believe you have to be on the winning side. Or the losing side, I can't remember which.
I don't believe that's the case.
I don't think
here.
that's true.
Yeah, it just, in the same meeting, we can do a motion for reconsideration. And then we can pass that motion and then make
Yeah.
an on-the-fly amendment to nix the emergency language and move forward.
There we go.
But that is only if we do not have 4 votes. to
Hi,
pass.
Tiffany. Also here digitally is Mayor Hughes.
Mayor Hughes, you are muted.
Did she see us? Where's the camera?
Copy of Robert's.
We
No,
can't.
no, now you're,
Just-
hold on, he's turning up the volume. Say something.
No, we're just testing for the next meeting.
There we
I don't
go.
need anything for this one. Do you guys need me though?
Yeah, I texted you.
Oh, she can't
I don't know if they can hear me.
Oh,
Yeah, we can hear you.
I don't
Stacy
think-
said she texted you.
yeah.
Awesome.
I needed one thing.
Is going through that.
There's a lot of.
She's She's got her phone on.
Yeah.
speaker.
Alright, we'll just try to ignore it. I don't think that's gonna travel too well to the recorders anyway.
No.
It's just weird. I'm gonna try and, let me mute my screen.
Okay, you can go ahead, yeah, I was gonna say, you can go ahead and mute her.
Did we wanna go over anything else? Do we wanna go and tell the whole story one last time?
I mean,
I
we
just-
can go over it. The only thing I wanna kind of point out, is, you know, I think I forwarded that email to everybody about Diane Trump's question about the 3-year.
Yeah, her concern is, can
yeah.
we get the money spent in 3 years?
Yeah, I mean, I think I asked that question during the finance meeting as well, which I
Yeah.
revisited,
Of course we
which
can
is
get money
fine.
spent in 3 years.
You know, I think maybe a more in-depth answer would be something I would be a little more comfortable with,
mean,
during the meeting. You know, I like
Okay,
details.
but if the question is, can we spend this money in 3 years, do you actually have a concern that we
No.
can get this money spent
No,
in 3 years?
I wanna know how that
Then I-
works. I just like the ins and outs of things.
Mm-hmm.
I like details and,
You-
It works because, you know, there's a big chunk
Yeah.
coming off the
I mean-
MI.
right,
The building will take another big chunk, that'll get paid way
Correct.
before 3 years, so will the
Right.
lake.
Right, the lake will, as soon as we have the money in hand, we'll get the engineering firm to fire up a project to do their engineering, and as soon as that's done, we'll start that work too.
I mean, I understand that, but I just wanna make sure we answer her question. So her question was, if anyone feels like asking, providing for a more succinct explanation of requirements to use funds within 3 years. You know what I mean? I mean,
For a-
That we can say, the
Yeah.
3-year thing, I mean, but that's just one question from her, I think we could just email that to her. I mean, the answer is
I think we
federal
should say it in
government
a public
says,
forum. I think
you
that's,
have to-
she's not the only one that's gonna have that question. So I'm not sure why we would,
Transparency as possible.
I think
That's
that-
Yeah,
what
I
was
don't think
for.
why-
I know we've been very
Yeah.
transparent, I know we've been very descriptive, but there's no reason to stop now and then line for
I
it.
think this is probably the most important time.
yeah, I don't think that's, I mean, I think a lot of people will be watching this. I think people will be attending. I think she won't be the only one with that question.
okay,
So I respectfully disagree with that.
alright, so we will mention that, man,
All
we
right,
will mention that.
anything else we wanna make sure we're covering in that time?
I mean, I think, you know, I would start from the beginning. What is a TIF? I understand.
Yeah, just go through it.
Okay.
What is a TIF?
All right, I can do, I'll handle all that.
Just-
If you feel I left anything out, feel free to.
I don't think you did. I
Chime
just,
in,
You
but
practiced it.
Yeah.
I've said it many, many times.
I think you're
All
great
right.
at explaining it, and I think one more time won't hurt.
It'll hurt me, but I'll soldier through. All
I
right.
believe in you. I think you can make it.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows.
There you go.
Okay,
Remember, statistically, most people retain about 10% of the information that they hear. So
Yeah.
technically, I can make you say it 10 times.
well,
It's been said.
factually, you can't make me do anything.
I
Yeah.
can't, but I
So,
think it would be, I'm
let's-
just saying, I
let's
think
just
one
say
more
that you
time
can
won't hurt.
ask me all
I
you
can
want.
ask you nicely, I think it would be,
Okay, any other,
Free to talk about it.
any other issues or,
No.
We're still on the
We're still-
ordinance for the,
for
Yeah.
the monies, yes.
yeah,
um,
7/20/2022, thank you.
okay,
We have what
so,
is a TIF, we have the FAC, we have why the 3-year time limit are the 3 questions to answer. That's what I have written down.
the 20, yeah, we have the 25 years. I mean, it's probably worthwhile to mention that the TIF is still for 25 years. That's why we're doing it that way. Maybe mention it in the explanation of the TIF, of how long it kind of was put in.
I got it. Basically, we want the whole Megillah.
Yeah, I want the whole Megillah.
I got the whole Megillah.
You got the whole Megillah, okay, and then sewer stuff, I mean, I just met with Mike, so we can kinda talk about that a little bit if anybody has questions. I don't know if we'll have time today, but I can absolutely revisit all of that, in pretty good detail.
Let's bring that up in streets.
Yeah.
since-
Well, no, we
That's
don't
right.
have committee reports tonight.
Well, I know,
Yeah.
but I mean,
Since
That's
one
fine.
of the concerns that has come up more than once is,
Right,
how does this impact our ability to continue to manage, maintain,
Yeah.
and
okay,
our sewers?
so there
Do
we
you want
go.
it, do you want it to come from finance, or do you want it to
Is
come from
that-
streets?
Is that in the,
FAQ, we're not doing committee meeting.
so here's what I'll say, is sewers are mentioned in the
FAQs.
in the FAQs.
So I think that's enough.
So,
Yeah.
is there any reason that taking on this debt would prohibit the village from seeking other funding sources for road and sewer projects? So I will read the FAQ, and if you feel like you have more to share,
Yeah.
you can say "and"
Okay.
and jump in right there.
You know I always have more to say. It's a pro and a con. Does anybody, do you feel like the financing part should be more appropriate coming from the finance chair, or do you want me to say it?
Well, since
Because,
I mean, what financing part? What are you on about?
I mean, the whole 0% possibility of a 0% loan if needed.
I mean,
We
that's
also have
what's
that
in,
option.
you're talking about something that's in this document?
In the streets, yep,
Yeah,
correct.
I mean, I'm just gonna read what it says,
Okay,
and then if you feel like you need to add more, feel free.
sure. Yeah. And I mean, the My Streets Committee meeting is online too, so all that is pretty cool. Alright, it's not cool. What else? And then probably you wanna emphasize that the TIF is the reason that we can't spend that money on the sewer projects, because it is a tax district. So even if we did wait or do anything, that's different pot.
We'll hit it all.
Different colored
Yeah.
M&Ms.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was gonna say,
Red and green.
they're not even, they're Skittles.
No, they're Skittles.
So close.
Okay, anything else we wanna add into, that discussion there? All right, a little less controversial here, our next is the, wage and salary. The big change is for pool employees and maintenance workers, seasonal maintenance workers and seasonal pool employees. We're offering a upper end, you know, of course, we're doing the, years of experience price bump for seasonal lifeguards and hopes to get lifeguards.
Waiving the third.
We are gonna waive the third so that we can get lifeguards paid when the pool opens up.
Well, when they start, because they start.
When they start, because they start before the pool opens up, getting the pool prepped.
Correct.
Did we ever finalize the benefit of possibly, like covering the cost of their lifeguard training if they would agree to stay on for a year? I thought that was something we discussed at one point. I think that'd be great for retention.
That was not a conversation I was a part of, so.
Yeah, it did not make it
Okay,
to finance. We did talk about it in our committee,
I remember that,
Yeah.
but yeah.
yeah,
I'm sorry,
If
what
there's
was the
still time,
question?
I wanna revisit it, I don't know.
yeah.
I missed it.
We talked about paying for, it's about $200 for a lifeguard to
yeah.
go through training. We talked about covering that fee for them,
For like a
But-
contract.
but they have to stay with us the whole pool season in order for us not to have them reimburse us for it.
I think that's a good idea. Maybe 2 years.
All right, now, what would be a great idea, but is not connected to that legislation.
Yeah.
Now moving on to one that someone's gonna need to explain to me, and I don't know if we're gonna have someone here to explain it to me tonight.
Appropriation.
The 9/2022, some of it I do understand, this is a supplemental appropriation. We're doing some supplies, materials for concessions and leisure activities. I assume, I know we're looking to, some of that's the food for the
Yeah.
party, weekend blowout and
Yeah.
such. What I don't understand about it is why firefighting prevention inspection has decreased 43,000, according to this. Increase, decrease,
Eric said he will be here at 6:30. Is that helpful?
Well, and
Okay.
Leah will be here as well.
and Leah will be here,
And
she can
Jeffrey
explain
will
that.
be here, so-
And this is only a second reading.
They'll all be there.
But I'm just pointing that out, if nothing else for myself, to make sure I ask about that.
Yeah, that's
I
interesting.
mean, we
that
can't
that's
continue
gone
until we
there.
understand everything, correct, yeah.
Yeah. Either way, it's just a second reading, it doesn't look like it needs to be rushed in any way, shape, or form, so we are good. Third reading, the appointment of Matthew Clark, okay, then we have our police officer and police intendant, no,
Lieutenant?
Lieutenant, not intendant, that is, I believe, the rank of a, from some sci-fi series.
You know what I'm gonna do for the record?
Yep,
Yeah,
you'll get your chance to ask Delp, are they doing a good job? This is of course just their, and I don't think we need to do, nope, I'm not seeing any, I know this is the regular order third reading. I'm not seeing any emergency, so there we go. That is all the legislation on the docket for tonight.
all right.
Does anyone have anything they want to bring up with legislation? Does anyone have any ideas of
Oh,
legislative changes they'd like to propose or talk about?
what was the, wait, didn't we get emailed an additional?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, that
We
was
just
the
talked about
Ordinance
wages
eight
one.
twenty-two.
The wages one was changed. Do you know if the ones up here on the packet are the current ones? I knew they would be. Thanks,
What
Barbara.
about, didn't we have something?
I mean, I still asked, but I knew the answer was gonna be yes.
The levy being put back on the ballot, did we already pass that? Did we?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we did.
Yeah,
We've
well, we
already-
haven't actually put it on the ballot. we've
Well-
declared our intention, we've gone to
Right.
Franklin County saying we want to do this, give us the numbers and whatnot, and then we can put it on the
Yeah,
ballot.
it's like a multi-stage
And it's
thing.
just a
But
renewal.
And
we
it's-
finished that.
No, I don't think so. I
We're
think
in the
there's still more. We're in the middle. We've done the first part of it. But we can confirm
We
with,
finished
So-
reading it and passed whatever.
We
needed to
finished,
pass.
we did we did, so and I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but there's like 3 steps to getting a levy, even a renewal levy on a ballot.
Okay,
You have to do we wanna tell the county we wanna do this, and then they check our numbers, and then they say, okay, those are good. Then you have to actually vote to put it on the ballot.
okay.
That we haven't done yet because the county hasn't come back and said your things are good. So there will be another vote to get it on the ballot.
Right.
There will probably be a rushed vote because Franklin County will take however long they take to look over our numbers, and they'll say, here you go. You have 2 weeks to get it on the ballot, and we'll go, okay, thanks, guys, and
yeah.
that seems to happen a lot.
I feel like there's another step in there where you have to justify the need
Let's
as
just-
well.
Right.
Yeah.
So just because,
So at most, we're halfway through the process, but we've done everything we can do.
Right.
And are now just sitting and waiting for the next step to become available. That's how I wanted to say it.
okay.
And
I feel like I understand it, but I know that Frank had asked that question
Mm-hmm.
about passing stuff as an emergency and why do we always have to do it? And I just felt like an explanation was good.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's always good to have an explanation every time.
I
you do it.
understand it, I know, I
Oh,
completely
yeah,
understand why,
we
but.
should, we should always have an explanation as to
Which is
why
why
we're
we-
passing something.
Why we're
as an
doing
emergency.
anything.
Which we
really.
always
But, you
do.
know, now whether or not people like the explanation,
No, I get
that's
it.
on them,
Can't
but, you
control
know, and sometimes it's as reasonable as it has to be done and effective by this date for the
Right.
county, for the thing to get on the ballot. And sometimes it's,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we need to do it so that it's effective, so that the contract can go into effect by this date. Sometimes it's,
So,
who knows?
can I ask, is there a reason why we can't start the readings? Because we can always change it later, right? As we're going through the readings.
But emergency isn't about how many readings you've had. An emergency
Right.
is about when it's in effect.
Right,
So yeah, we can do all the readings we want
uh-huh,
in advance, but if we don't have the final information that we need to vote on passage,
okay,
we can't, so like in that example, we would still be beholden on the county getting us back what we need
okay,
to
And then
vote
still
on.
having 30 days before.
And if,
Okay.
and if the, you know, if the deadline to getting something on the ballot is
Okay.
less than 30 days out, it's gonna have to be an
so
emergency.
we don't know what we have to put on this yet.
No.
We do not have all of the i's dotted and t's
Okay.
crossed that are necessary to vote for passage.
And of all the things, I'll come out and say, of all the things that voting as an emergency is sort of a no deal at all, is voting as emergency to put something on the
So-
ballot.
so
I mean, you're
actually-
almost
Yeah.
like, hey, let's have an emergency, we're
Actually,
gonna
that
put this.
just reminded me, so if it is legislation to put something on the ballot, it doesn't have to be an emergency. But, and we might be put in a position
To waive readings.
to waive readings or
but-
something like that, because again,
But yeah, passing it as emergency would be goofy, it's
Yeah.
automatically going to
Yeah.
essentially a referendum anyway, it's going on the ballot.
at the end of the day, it's about keeping the business moving.
Yeah.
No, I get that, yeah.
Do you guys just wanna go over that real quick, cause,
Over what?
what Frank asked, basically,
No, I
like,
think,
general
What-
fund is fine.
yeah,
It's
I
just
think we're
So
okay.
Yeah.
about which part?
Like, what it's going towards, it's not going towards its project, it's just going towards.
No,
the
it's
general
just
fund.
part of the general fund, the
Yeah.
operating
That's
budget
our-
of the village.
Yeah, that's our
How much
operating
is it,
expenses.
yeah, so, and I don't think it's a large amount. From what
But
I
neither is our
remember, I just
budget.
can't remember. I understand
And
that,
it's- Right,
just
it's a
can't remember what the
renewal, it's
amount
not
was.
new taxes, it's
Yeah.
not an increase of rate, it is.
do you guys remember how much it is, like, how many, is it mills? I don't know that part.
Well, yeah, so it's millage,
Mm-hmm.
right? Property taxes are done in millage, which is some sort of arcane wizardry, right?
Yeah,
But, yeah, I mean,
It's a percentage
I
based
wanna
on
think-
$100,000 worth of value.
A mill is just a
Mill.
tenth of a penny.
Yeah.
Arcane wizardry, why don't we just
sounds like
say?
math, that
fraction.
sounds like math and science to
Arcane
me.
wizardry.
of a penny.
So, but, you know,
Yeah.
I don't believe any of our levies generate more than 300,000 in annual revenue,
Okay,
right? So.
total, yeah,
Right,
So it
Not,
can't
no,
really,
not all of our levies total, but any one of our levies,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
what I mean.
think brings in more than
$300,000.
300,000.
total, that's what you mean, right?
No, I don't think any one of our levies
Yeah.
brings in more than 300,000. So that's, like, that's, as an upper limit, that's the most that that levy could be bringing in,
Okay, so now.
from my recollection. So it's
And-
not,
And I know we let one go a couple
Yeah.
years ago and renewed one, we let one go that was like 30 or
We-
40,000.
we haven't issued a
We kept
new
one.
levy in a very long time, right? We've been renewing the same levies for a long time, and a lot of that has to do with, because they are renewals, there is, again, another bit of space magic where the state or the county is kicking in some, and we get better love out of it by a renewal than if we were to just issue a new levy for the same millage.
Okay.
Right,
And what are we using these funds for right now?
This is our operating funds.
So
This
these
is-
are operating.
This
Yeah,
is
this is
planned for
general
police,
funds.
this is
Copier.
planned for potholes, this is just,
Yeah.
okay, we need X number of dollars for,
Right.
for police force, X number of dollars to subsidize the pool, X number of dollars for all the other stuff.
All of our.
Repairing signs when drunks crash into them and
All of
whatnot.
our property taxes and income tax goes into the general fund, and that's what we operate out of. Right, we have the water fund, which has a revenue source of water bills, right? A portion of your water bill comes back to the village and it gets split between water and sewer,
Right.
right? And there's a water fund and a sewer fund.
And we tap
there's-
into that sewer fund a little bit to pay for these sewer projects.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
in fact, we,
yeah, we have a separate.
we, last
There's just
summer,
not
maybe the
enough.
summer before last, we pulled what, money out of the water fund and transferred it to the sewer fund.
To help with those
Because
things.
when we had engineers look at our water line, they said your water lines and water main should be fine for the next 60 to 80 years.
Okay.
And then they looked at the sewer lines and said, wow, those, particularly storm sewers, those things need replaced.
Right.
So we took that money, you know, there was a couple $100,000 sitting around in water fund, that really wasn't, we didn't have any projects to use it on.
Okay.
So we had to pass legislation to take it out of the water, put it into the
Yeah,
sewer.
reappropriate it.
Cause,
There's-
yeah,
There's also the permissible fees fund, which comes from car registrations, which is not a lot. And I'm trying to think of any other earmarked revenue sources.
there is some money from, there's some highway money that we
Yeah,
get,
the
the state highway money that we could,
Oh, mayor, yeah. The fees that come in from mayor's court, go into a fund.
I know
and-
Kim went all
Yeah.
over this and that thing, but
we have a little bit of state highway money that we can
Like that.
only use on
Yeah.
like that 20 feet of intersection down there where it's Route 3 and,
Yeah, but generally, if we're collecting it through either income tax or property taxes, it's going into the general fund.
Right.
And by and large, that's what's funding our operations.
but the levy is in addition to that 2%.
No. Oh, is
Oh,
in
yeah.
addition to the 2%, because the 2% is income tax, the levy is property tax.
Okay. Right.
Right, but they all go into the general fund.
Alright.
yeah.
I wasn't sure that the levy money went into the general fund.
Yeah.
I thought that was paying specifically for some projects.
No, not until Columbus starts squeezing us hard enough that down the road, we might need to have a fire levy or something because Columbus keeps up in our fire
Right.
protection, but hopefully that won't expand too fast or we'll somehow be able to keep up with it, I don't know.
How are we doing, speaking of fire, how are we doing with the kind of business fire inspection thing? Do we know anything about that?
I have not heard any updates.
I have no updates either.
Okay,
I wonder if some of that is involved in the reduce of the cost of something, I don't know.
Yeah.
There's something that we're getting 43, we're reducing our, I mean, 43,000 of 27,000, that's a chunk, that's what, 1/7 reduction, roughly.
where's one?
Not exactly, but roughly.
That was some quick math.
He is
Math
a,
teacher.
he's a fourth grade math
4
teacher.
times 7 is 28.
What if we do fifth grade math? What happens?
That's all that was, estimation. Anything else on legislative then? Anyone with any, little things they'd like to pass, fun little ordinances? Anyone wanna make it, you know, illegal to fly a kite with flip flops on due to dangers of tripping?
I would like to pass one where it should be illegal to mow your lawn in flip flops, but I'm okay.
Well, write it up
Did
and
we
we can
some-
discuss it, but I don't think
I
it's
feel
gonna
like that's
fly.
very
I know
prohibitive
there
though.
was some, noise ordinance, did that ever finish up?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. Now, some of that, and you know, we did a fair amount of John and Han over those. You know, some of those might end up getting modified or scrapped when we redo the code,
Right.
so we'll have to, that'll be, and that'll definitely be one, thanks for bringing it up, to keep an eye on, cause that, you know, there are some all the ordinances are important, some are just more important than others.
Right.
And I would put noise as more important than some others.
Especially with summer.
Something I remember about listening to it when I was watching it was that I remember thinking, it only talks about the evenings. Like I never heard anything about not starting to mow your grass before a certain time in the morning. Now, was that in there? Maybe I missed it,
No,
but.
so there
I
was
think that's-
nothing, speaking from memory,
Mhm.
the way that we crafted the ordinance was that we set hours of, you know,
Right.
where the standard of reasonable
Uh-huh.
for noise might be different. Now, what those hours are at this moment, I would have to go
Yeah.
back and look it up, but
Yeah,
it's
I don't
in,
remember.
it's in our code and it's under the disorderly conduct section.
All right,
Move to
still
adjourn?
fishing for anyone else, anyone else?
Hey, can I just make one quick suggestion? Just,
Well, we're gonna adjourn our meeting. I will make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we stand adjourned. Turn off the recorders.